This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, we review the premiere episodes of Season 4 of The Boys and Season 2 of House of the Dragon. Plus, the Blade movie loses its second director. Deadpool and Wolverine projected to smash box office opening weekend records, and more, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, June 17th, 2024.
This is Norm MacDonald, and you're listening to the, hang on, I got it here. It says, the Jock and Nerd Podcast, known for their series of gay erotica found on Amazon, No? That's not that? Oh. Well, I fucked that up, I guess.
Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up. We talk it, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. We talk it, we nerd it. We spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, what's up? Thanks for pressing play, listener, and welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
And joining us, the latest soup to join the seven, goes by the name Brother Bukkake. We call him Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs? Congratulations on making the seven.
Yeah, well, I had to drink a lot of electrolytes for the tryout. A lot of fluids exchanged. Yeah.
You and Sister Sage just, that's a gross enough character that I'm surprised it's not already in The Boys.
Like someone who just shoots actual ropes out of their penis.
That sounds like it.
Not spooge, just like ropes like Spider-Man.
Yes,
ropes.
like spider webs. Brother Bukkake, why isn't this an actual Boys superhero?
Well, I think you're saying Brother Bukkake intimates that I'm not a white dude. So,
I see.
I think that they just get to steer clear of that.
That's a good point.
I don't want to step on that land.
I was just thinking in terms of siblings, but that is like, you know what? Don't do that. I'm taking that. Listen, it's a lot of stuff to discuss. It's peak TV season, everyone. A lot of things on the television. And a little bit of news before we get into the reviews. Let's do it.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
Just a few things to discuss before we get into the first of two big reviews. Here's a fun story. The Wrap official exclusive story, Yann Demange is no longer directing Marvel Studios' Blade project.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my God. Here we go.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Let me give you a little timeline here. I'll tell you a little story about this movie. San Diego Comic-Con 2019, Kevin Feige brings out Mahershala Ali announcing Blade. I think it was like the end of the whole presentation at All Age. Big to do, very exciting. Then there's a little pandemic. Then we get a little voice cameo in a post-credit scene in Eternals. Then director Bassam Tariq leaves over creative differences. And they get Yann Demange, who is known for directing TV shows like Lovecraft Country and Top Boy. In the meantime, on the writer's side, they've 6 people writing the script so far. Currently, Eric Pearson is working on the latest draft. He also just worked on Fantastic Four. But this is after Stacey Osei-Kuffour, Bo DeMayo, Michael Starbury, Nick Pizzolatto, and Michael Green all took a crack at the screenplay. And now, last week, we lose director Yann Demange. So what is that? 5 years, 2 directors, 6 fucking screenwriters. My question is it really that hard to get a Blade movie done? Or maybe this is not a huge priority for Kevin Feige at the moment. Or maybe they just want to get it right. Anthony, what is happening here?
Yeah, this has been quite the odyssey with this movie. They announced Mahershala Ali in 2019 at Comic-Con, and it's been, as you mentioned, 5 years, and we're still, I don't know if we're any closer to a Blade movie. when they first announced this, I was pumped. I love Mahershala Ali. I think he's a great actor. I think Blade is a fun.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so is that guy. And I think Blade is a fun character. It would be fun to see them in the MCU. See him in the MCU. It sounds like they were going with an R-rated movie for this, street level. All those things are good. But now that we're 5 years later, I think it's all cooled off. Marvel's in a different place than it was before. I think, it sounds like to me they just haven't gotten it right yet. Yeah. And I would normally be okay with them, continuing to tweak things until they got it right. The only issue here is Mahershala Ali is 50 years old.
Yes.
And unless he's just a freak of nature, or you're just planning to have stuntmen in his place, like it's just not going to be. Blade is a very physical character.
Yep.
So at some point, and I would imagine you're not going to have Blade and just do one Blade. You're going to try to make this a franchise. You're going to try to have him involved in other crossover events.
Absolutely.
You had his voice in the end of Eternals.
Yep.
So I think the main issue here is the fact that I love Mahershala Ali, but I think he's already too old for this.
He's still apparently attached.
He's super. I read some of the article. He's still full guns ablaze, like wants to do this.
So
he's 50 years old. I
yes.
mean, when Downey started, Downey was in his 40s.
Yes. He'd be older than Robert Downey Jr.
You'd imagine this is probably not going to release. This is probably not going to. It's going to take at least another year or two to get this out. So that's my main issue, is that he's just an old guy now.
Yeah, pretty much sequels are going to be a little rough for him to do.
Yeah.
He's going to be aging out if it takes this long to make the next one.
Yeah.
So apparently, according to Jeff Schneider over at the Hot Mic podcast, he said that Mahershala Ali got frustrated with Yann Demange as a director, claiming Demange was, quote, difficult to work with. And apparently this happened in March. So they've been looking for a thing. Rugg, should they just scrap this whole thing? What do you do here?
This really boggles my mind, because Blade is like, it's not Shakespeare. It's very easy to do. I mean, you have
exactly.
It's Blade. You make a Halloween movie. All right. It's easy. You just have Blade chasing down some vampires some fucking where, and then Werewolf by Night fucking shows up.
Yeah, you got him. That would be great.
Yeah, you just fucking around and make some cool Halloween shit.
Vampire hunter kills vampires. It doesn't seem very difficult.
Joss Whedon figured it out how to do that for fucking 5 seasons.
That's true. There's a lot of precedent.
And yeah.
Did you see Wesley Snipes' response on Twitter? Of course, Wesley Snipes has opinion.
He drops a bunch of like quotable lines in this.
So I have one Twitter post here. He goes, Blade, lordy, lordy, lordy. Folks still looking for the secret sauce. Riding snowmobiles in traffic. Kind of rough. Daywalkers make it look easy, don't they? Hashtag Daywalker click. Hashtag Blade. Hashtag Marvel.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
I don't understand what he's talking about. What is he talking about? Riding snowmobiles in traffic, kind of rough. I think that goes back to the motherfuckers trying to ice skate uphill. I'm not sure.
He's always making some kind of ice reference.
Yes, he just wants to go skiing all the time.
Yeah, he must be on the slopes a lot.
I don't know why he keeps... So, yeah, so I got a couple of related stories. What do you guys think about this? Related story number one, from also Jeff Snyder. He talked a few weeks ago that Marvel had met with Jordan Peele to direct the X-Men movie, reportedly, and that it did not work out. And this would have been a while ago. Now, the door is open for probably the best match ever for a Blade movie, Jordan Peele.
Right.
Could you see that happening? And would you want that to happen?
I don't know. I think that I hate all these directors that want to make Blade into something more than Blade is. Blade is a vampire hunter. He's cool. He's just cool as hell and kills things, says cool shit.
Yeah.
If you try and add more to it and make it into some political bullshit or whatever, or some kind of statement, this is why they can't figure out what they're trying to do. All these angles, just fucking make an action movie. Like John Wick had zero plot.
Yeah.
It just was cool. Just do that.
Yeah,
it's
focused.
not, I don't know, Jordan Peele gonna fucking check his ego at the door and make a cool movie? No, he's gonna try and do a Jordan Peele thing, but which is fine. But I just think, I don't know. I don't think that's going to get things moving quicker. You know, I think it's going to be more of a slog, and I think it's going to be, there's going to be a battle of what are we trying to do here?
Anthony, what do you think? Jordan Peele could bring some cool horror shtick, but everything Rugg said is right. What, you know, will he fall in line and do it the Marvel way, or will he want to make a Jordan Peele movie?
Well, I think the only reason you bring in Jordan Peele is to make a Jordan Peele movie.
Yeah.
You don't do a Jordan Peele. You don't bring in Jordan Peele and say, hey, do a Marvel movie. I think that would be the draw. So I'm actually kind of encouraged by that, because a lot of the Marvel movies, they often bring in directors that they can have do what they want. And Jordan Peele would be a direction where, like, it's Jordan Peele. Like, let him do his thing. So I'd be encouraged by that. I'm actually encouraged to see them meeting with directors that are a name like that.
Man, if this movie actually gets made and Mahershala Ali, no, Blade.
Oh, you're saying he should go pivot to Blade?
I think he's a really good match for Blade. Yes,
yeah, probably.
I thought an X-Men Jordan Peele X-Men movie would have been interesting.
That makes more sense.
You think so? I think a Blade Jordan Peele.
Well, I think
movie
Jordan Peele has a perspective. He's going to put more of a narrative to it.
Oh, sure.
Like he's going to put some kind of like themes in there and shit.
Jordan Peele always has very obvious allegories and subtext, and X-Men is, you know, ripe for that kind of stuff.
Man, I think he'd be great at both.
Yeah, and I think putting subtext in Blade would be stupid.
Yeah, you
Blade.
just want a straightforward.
Blade's just a badass killer, as Rugg said.
I see your point.
He would have to, he'd have to lean more into the horror, and I don't think that probably wouldn't be the best use of Jordan Peele's talent.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Now you guys just flipped me. You're right. I think that Jordan Peele X-Men would be more interesting. But if Blade, what I was saying, if Blade comes out, Mahershala Ali's actually in it, I will be shocked. Like this is at this point.
Now I was on the, hey, it's going to happen, they're going to make it, and now I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it.
They're literally back to square one, like fucking 5 years later. All they have is Mahershala Ali.
Wow. They just have a director.
They don't. Yeah, they don't. Yeah,
they don't have a director.
No,
sorry, they have a lead.
Yeah, they have a lead. They have no director, and they got a sixth guy writing the script. That's a mess. Related story number 2. Remember we mentioned how Universal is making more Jurassic World movies, and they were fast tracking this. So the new one, I guess, Jurassic World 4. Directed by Garth Edwards. Garth Brooks. Gareth Edwards. Godzilla Gareth Edwards. The creator Gareth Edwards. Great pick for director. The lead in this is Scarlett Johansson.
Whoa.
Yes. It has begun shooting in Thailand. Also,
they just want all old Marvel leads to come in.
You know who else is in this movie? Mahershala Ali. So he's not sitting around. But then, so he's doing stuff great. The most interesting thing is in this article, it says the movie is being described as, quote, a completely fresh take, launching a new Jurassic era following 3 adults and 3 teens getting stuck on the island, which sounds like all the other movies.
Island?
I don't know. That's also unclear. I was like, didn't the island blow up?
So are we going to see the dinosaurs or wait until the end of the movie?
And then they just show up at the end? What island is a good question. I also had that question. And also, this is like every movie. Are they
going to cut away to a news broadcast every time the dinosaurs are going to fight each other?
Can't show them.
I don't know.
But they are. This thing is moving forward. They want to get this out there. So I don't know. ScarJo leading the new Jurassic. It could be fun.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a name. I think the what they would have to do is similar to what it seems like Alien is doing, where you'd have to make it more suspenseful. Take it back to being a suspenseful thing.
Yes.
Not a big spectacle, which is what it's become.
Strip it back.
Like, the dinosaurs aren't scary anymore.
Yeah, jump scares.
You've made the Velociraptors good guys. If you've taken everything and you've made them good, taking the T-Rex, the Velociraptors, they're all good guys now.
Yeah, and it's hard to like recreate that awe of the thing now after all these years.
Yeah.
You know, because we've just seen it. So the island, this article says they assume the island will be one of the Muertes Archipelago, aka the 5 deaths. And then remember, it was going to be like a Jurassic City thing. So I don't know. They're still making dinosaur movies. Listener, you could join this conversation. Let us know what you think of this whole Blade situation. Join our Facebook group. It's called Jock and Nerd Nation. Jock and Nerd. It's a closed exclusive group just for you. There's spoiler threads for TV shows and lots of fun stuff. Join it today. Okay, just a few more things here. Here's another crazy story. Deadpool and Wolverine is just under 6 weeks out of this movie coming out. And there's this company, The Quorum, that does these 6-week tracking projections. The Quorum is saying, it's reporting a projection of $200 to $239 million opening weekend for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, shit.
To put that into perspective, there has never been an R-rated movie that has opened to $200 million. The current highest R-rated movie is actually the first Deadpool from 2016 that opened at $132.4 million. So that number is crazy. I could see it making like $150 million, and even that would be huge for an R-rated movie. Interestingly enough, the bar now has been set by Pixar's Inside Out 2 that opened this weekend. It finally broke the curse and the bad box office. It opened to $155 million this weekend.
Oh, wow.
And worldwide, it's sitting at almost $300 million. So 155.
Not only breaks the box office curse, but it breaks the Disney's been in a slump, so that's good for them.
Yeah, and this apparently everybody loves Inside Out and say it's a great sequel to Pixar, and Pixar is very good. But that's the biggest opening since Barbie last year, that opened at 162. So I think Deadpool could beat it easily. But do you think this thing could open at 200 million, 250 million, 230 million? It's crazy.
So just for some perspective, if it were to open at what you're saying it's going to open at 230 to 250, there's only 4 films that have opened above 220.
Gee, okay. What about 200? What about at 200 million?
200 million, there's only 8 films ever that have done that. You want me to read them for you?
Yeah, and they're probably not R-rated, which is the weird.
Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home, Avengers Infinity War, Star Wars The Force Awakens, Star Wars The Last Jedi, Jurassic World, The Avengers, and Black Panther.
And I believe the other stat is all those movies, any movie that opened above 190 eventually gets to $1 billion. Those are all $1 billion movies.
Right.
So if this thing, and I was like, this is gonna be $1 billion movie. If this thing opens 200 million, that's crazy. It's definitely hitting $1 billion.
Well, I will say that Deadpool and Wolverine, they've done a good job marketing this, where it feels like an event.
Yes,
it feels like, hey, this is something different and special. It's Deadpool in the MCU. There's Wolverine's back. I think they've done a good job of building up a lot of hype for this.
Here's a weird thing, dude. I don't know if this is going to affect things, but parents are used to bringing their kids to a Marvel movie. Do you think they realize, maybe they're not paying attention, that this is rated R, that this is going to be not your typical family Marvel movie, and bring their kids anyways? Or maybe see it before?
How dumb do you think people are?
I mean, I think some people may just roll in. You've seen little kids in R-rated movies aren't supposed to be there. You know?
But those are just bad parents. They just take their kid. People taking their kid to see Monkey Man, like a 3-year-old girl to see Monkey Man. I'm like, that's not a good parent. He's clearly a fucking selfish asshole.
That was a funny angle right there. Imran going with the, do you think parents are going to be tricked?
I'm just thinking, if you got like a 10, 12-year-old, this kid's going to be like, I have to see this Deadpool movie.
It says everywhere rated R, and it tells you what it's rated R for in the thing. If you care to look, it's only bad parents who don't care to look.
Yeah, and that that little spot they run now before about silencing your phone, he's swearing a lot in that. It is beeped out, but you're
if I'm a parent and I bring my kid there and I realize it's a rated R movie, I'm going, fuck it. We're still watching the movie.
Yeah, the kid's going to learn someday. It's fine. I'm just saying, R-rated movie to hit 200 million, I don't think...
There's levels of R-rated movie, right? So, like, Deadpool Wolverine is an R-rated movie, but it's not like fucking going in to see Basic Instinct or fucking horror, like a Saw.
Yeah.
Like, there's levels to R-ratedness, and I think, you could probably bring your kid to a Deadpool movie and it'll be fine.
Okay, I
don't think 10-year-olds are gonna be. I think it's gonna be the middle school and above kids that might be interested in it.
Okay,
I don't even know if freaking people at the fucking theater even check IDs.
Yeah, nobody checks for R-rated movies. No, I don't know. Do they?
Unless you're like fucking a toddler walking up.
Hey, man, I just saw so many little kids in these fucking movies that we shouldn't be watching.
Right.
Yeah, they just let anybody in. So
Yeah, they do. They let
I think
anybody.
they just need people walking in.
for what it's worth, I bought two tickets already for this
Two?
movie. Yes, I'm going to see it the Thursday and then again on Sunday
Oh,
before we record because I'm going to want to see this again.
that's San Diego Comic-Con weekend, so I'm probably
Oh,
gonna.
snap.
I might not be able to watch it till that Monday, but where they would record.
That's it.
'Cause I was looking at Comic-Con, and there's not
you are
any.
going.
There's not any like special showings happening in San
I don't
Diego.
think you even bought my tickets for it yet.
Whoa. You can still. There's still tickets. They've been on sale for a while. Wow. So that weekend is San Diego Comic-Con. That's going to be crazy. But they should show it there or something.
No, they don't do
You
that.
think
They don't show
would?
it there.
No. You got to pay.
No, the promotion's already done. That's there to
That's
promote
true.
other stuff.
That's true. It's coming out. Go see it.
Work is done.
That's a good point. All right. That's it for the news, fellas. Let's get into talking about some dragons. We're going to start with the review of the premiere episode of season 2 of the Hot D. The Hot D is back. House of the Dragon season 2. Here is your spoiler alerts.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
Is Hot D a nickname you came up with?
Well, I
Is that
can't.
something you saw online?
A while ago, I will give credit to Jose Ibarra. I think he left a comment. Maybe it was one of our Discord things. He was like, I can't believe you guys haven't called it Hot D yet. And I was like, oh my God, it's right there. How did I miss that?
I guess, yeah, you're right. The House of the Dragon.
If
All right.
everywhere,
Fair.
if you're going to abbreviate it, it says Hot D. It's the Hot D. So I don't know if I can take full credit, but I will. Anyways.
All right.
For some perspective, guys, the season 1 of the Hot D ended in October of 2022. Almost 2 goddamn years ago. So, Anthony, did you do a refresher on what happened? Do you want to?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I didn't.
give
I
you
went
a
into
recap.
it. Yeah, they gave you something at the start,
Yeah.
so I was good. For the most part, there were a few times where I had to pause it, look up a name, and be like, "Who's this again?
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
Are they related?
There's a lot of
What's
names.
happening?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's Aemons and Aegons and Valerians and Corlises and
A
Rhaenyras and
lot of Nisses.
A lot of Nisses, a lot of Rhaenyras and Rhaenyra. There's a lot of names.
Rhaenyra, Dracarys,
Yes.
like all these fucking things.
But I gotta say, it was great to go back to Westeros, the Red Keep, with Dragonstone is the location. And then I don't know. Let's just start. Overall thoughts. In the very beginning, we saw a location we haven't seen in a while, which is Winterfell and the Great North Wall. And I still think it's weird. There's an elevator in Game of Thrones. I don't know. Sometimes it takes me out. Does that bother anybody else?
It's not electric.
It's not
It's a
electric,
pulley.
but it's a pulley system. But it was like, this is an elevator. It's a good point. It's just weird.
I have to call this out right off the bat before I get into because since you brought up the elevator.
Yeah.
I brought this up with Star Wars, so I'd be inconsistent if I didn't bring this up with Game of Thrones.
Okay.
What, 200 years before?
Yes.
Again, why does shit look exactly
Yes.
the same as it does think about human history.
Yeah.
Think about where we were 200 years ago and
Yeah.
how fucking radically different things are.
Yeah.
It's lazy to me that this, also Star Wars does this,
Yeah.
where they have prequels where it's that far in the past and nothing looks any different. The only thing that's different is there's dragons.
Yes. There's more dragons now, but you're right. Essentially, in the 200 years, nothing
It
has advanced.
It should be way different.
Yeah. There's been no advancement of any kind. Everything's the same. In fact, the families are in the same places they were. Like the Starks are still at
Right.
Winterfell and the Targaryens are still over there. Like nothing really changes in 200 years.
So that's just my opening call
Well,
out.
I'll allow it.
I can push back against that.
Okay.
Because if you look at the Dark Ages begin. They say it takes about 1,000 years to get to like anything drastically different.
Are they in the Dark Ages though? They're not in the Dark Ages.
Yeah, they're in like medieval
It's like
times.
medieval
They're in-
times.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the Dark Ages.
But they
So-
also have magic and
Yes. And
That's
fucking
true.
dragons
That's
and,
true.
There's
I mean,
a lot of things
they
that
can do-
could advance themselves.
it's their world. They can do whatever they want. I'm
Right.
just saying, like, if you put it in context of the medieval ages kind of last, like the Gothic era into the medieval times, where nothing really
That was a long time that nothing
drastically changed. They have buildings and stuff like that, but like nothing
Sure.
really crazy.
It's more pronounced. It bothers me more with Star Wars for what it worth
Yeah.
than it does for this.
happened. Yeah.
Well, that's like when you've hit that industrial era. Like as soon as we started doing machines and shit, like technology started rapidly advancing, like super fast.
Right. But
Like
Star
so,
Wars, it doesn't
basically,
advance at all.
like from the 18th century till now, it's been what, a couple, maybe 200 or more years.
Yeah.
And we've drastically changed in that and after that era. But I mean, you could make that argument that they're approaching that. They should be approaching that soon. They're not quite there yet, though.
Ruggs, what'd you think of the opening setup episode?
I think it was a good start. It set up everything. So yeah, the red team. I'll call them the red team.
Wait, I thought it's black and green.
Is it black and green?
Yeah.
No, it's red, isn't it?
Allison's team green and Rhaenyra is team black.
It's red.
Well, they were red and black.
Okay.
So
Red and black,
okay.
yeah.
But you're probably right. They are the black team. They were wearing a lot of black.
Yeah.
But now I think since they're going into war, they're wearing more red.
So their banners are black with red on it, isn't it? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So black and red team.
Yeah.
They're out for revenge because their kid got killed by
Viserys.
Aegon and his dragon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Aemon.
by Vhagar, by accident, for
Yeah.
what it's worth.
Is it Aegon or Aegon?
No, Aemon.
Aemon.
Yeah.
It's a lot
So,
of names.
yeah. And so now the mom, Rhaenyra, she's like wants to grieve her son and is waiting for a proof that he's dead. And once that happens, what's the name of the other dude?
Damon,
the demon.
Yeah. Matt Smith.
He like starts to put the plan in to get revenge into play. And so, so like that's a good start. Like, all right, they're already taking action. Like the first episode's not even over and they're already made a major move that is going to further complicate and fuck up everything.
Yeah.
You're already starting the season on a big, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, no, they did it.
Yeah. They didn't,
So I think that's not bad. Not a bad way to start.
I like the start. I thought it was good. I thought it was paced well. It was entertaining, and there's a catalyst for movement right away. It was sad that Rhaenyra is grieving, and then like the dragon wing washes up and the coat, and then she's just like, I want Aemon Targaryen. She wants him and sets Daemon to create this plan. Anthony, what'd you think of his plan and what happens in the second half of the episode where we follow characters we just met? We don't even know. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that whole episode, that whole part, is white knuckle because they're in there and they're trying to search for Aemond, and you're kind of rooting for them. But then once he punts the dog,
He kicked the dog. It's so
for
wrong.
no reason,
Yeah.
and then when they do what they do, which is they cut a kid's head off, a baby.
Yes. Yeah, at least it was off screen.
Just generic, but you hear like the
Yes,
like,
the sound was very
Yeah.
disturbing.
and first off, you just go, oh my god, Game of Thrones went there.
Yes.
But then you're like, oh, this is Game of Thrones. That they of course they would go there. It creates a situation where, unlike the Game of Thrones proper, like by the end, you pretty much knew who the good guys and the bad guys were.
Yeah.
But I think what this show does a really good job of doing is like, there's not really good or bad guys. There's just a lot. I mean, there are some bad guys. Don't get me wrong, but there are bad things happening on both sides that make you go, fuck, this is just really nasty. It creates more conflict in terms of like who you should even be rooting for. Because like I'm sure most people leading into this episode were like, oh, I'm Team Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
Like she's in the right. She's but and she didn't necessarily want the baby to die.
No, that wasn't the
But
plan.
it is kind of still her responsibility that this baby gets its head cut off. So, I think the show does a really good job of that. And then you throw in some of the other stuff that we can talk about here in a bit. But it creates it just keeps pushing. I mean, they're like now past the point of like no return.
Yeah, this movie, like I think everything else that's happened with Rhaenyra has been coincidental. This is also coincidental, but like you can't walk this back. Like, say Rhaenyra she wanted to be named the heir, but ultimately it was not up to her, right? And she was named the heir. Everything else that happened with the kids, with the eye, that wasn't really her fault either, right? That's something that kids did.
Yeah.
So all these things that propel the story, she never was directly involved, but she did give the order to kind of do this thing, and this thing got botched. So she is responsible. This is like the first time that she's really directly involved with something that
she sent the hit. She ordered a hit.
She did. I would say there was a point last season where I really didn't like her, and it was when she was trying to pass off those babies as being black babies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know, so like she's not exactly like the most innocent person either, although I would say she's more innocent than Allison. That's the thing. The show just does a good job of like making Allison and Rhaenyra both.
They're both kind of right.
Sympathetic sometimes, but then also you go, well, they also kind of like are doing assholey things.
Well, at this point now, what she's done is like now completely unforgivable.
Aegon's
this
gonna
is a
be
child
pissed.
that in his crib, you know, like this is just something on a level that that's it. That war is happening. There was no way around this now.
Aegon's gonna be pissed, and it was great how they set him up. Where Aegon's like, "I want to bring Jaehaerys to this council meeting. He's the heir. He's got to learn." And he's sitting there being a little kid, annoying the guy. And then I love what Aegon's like, "I think he wants a pony ride, Master of Coin. Get on your hands and knees."
So I think this episode did that's one thing I want to call out too, is I think this episode did a really good job of bringing more character to Aegon.
Yes.
Because up until this point, Aegon was kind of a doofus, almost like a what's the kids in the Lannister boy?
Oh, Joffrey.
Joffrey, kind of like
Joffrey vibes.
Doofy, but like also like Joffrey, where it's like he's kind of like evil.
Yes.
Like he's fucking his sister, and But then this episode showed like he doesn't really care about being a king. He's still kind of a doofus,
He's trying to be king,
but he's like bringing his kid along, right? And he wants his kid to have a good time. And then like when he has the council, the regular people like appealing to him, he like sympathizes with all of them, and he immediately is like, we took your sheep, we need to give them back, or like, you know, like, and the next guy says something, he's like, I totally understand, we should give them back, we should help you. And then he's got like his hand Hightower, who's like, dude, you're a fucking idiot, like what are you doing?
He's not pragmatic at all.
No, he's not pragmatic, but you can tell like he's not a purely, he's kind of stupid, but he's not he's got some good in him. So then the episode ends and his fucking son's head gets cut off, and you're like, oh fuck.
Yes.
You're gonna drive. Now I can see why this guy's gonna get driven to the edge.
No, he's gonna be pissed. But yeah, I thought it was interesting how he's like trying to effort to be king.
He wants to be a good king.
Yeah, when he wasn't into it, didn't want it.
He wants to be a good king, and he wants to be a good father, at least to his son.
Yeah, and to his heir, and he's got other kids. But wow, that was those two guys. The characters apparently named Blood and Cheese, and they're from the book. And I love the whole bit that he's a rat catcher. And he kind of knows different ways in, and you see the tunnels under the Red Keep. Like, that was fantastic. The sets in this show are phenomenal. It just looks amazing. It looks so good. And
that's a given at this point.
I know, but like, you feel like you're there. And we did get a bunch of dragons from a distance, so that was a nice little tease of dragons. Let's talk about how Sir Kristen Cole is taking care of Alicent. Let's just say.
Well, you know, she's had to fuck that old guy for so long.
With the guy and his eye fell off and he had a hole in his face.
Would you want some good dick?
Yeah. And in the beginning, we see them and she's like, we can't do this again. And of course they do, because the girl walks in on them. And good for Kristen Cole. I don't know. Sir Kristen.
He's paying both
laying
of them.
it. Yes. Oh, yeah, that's right. He flipped sides, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, everybody getting ready for war is kind of neat. You see Corlys Velaryon.
I did enjoy the Starks 200 years in the past are still like, winter's coming.
Yes, and they're always
gotta stay under this goddamn wall.
Nothing changes. The Starks are always waiting for winter.
Death is coming.
What's out there? Death.
And the dude's like, what do you wait? Like, you're just scared of some snow and some fucking savages? No, death. They've been paranoid forever. Yes. They're just standing on that goddamn wall.
Of years. We built this for a reason, motherfuckers. I love the opening credits too. These were new, right? The fabric and the stitching. Rugs, did you see the opening credits with the
some nice embroidery,
animated embroidery, building maps and icons? It was really good. What else we got? We got Daemon trying to push Rhaenys around, where he's like, "Come on, let's go. We're gonna meet this guy. We're gonna go kill Aemond and Vhagar." And she's like, "Nah, you're not the king." And so this plan was weird. I was like, "We're picking these two idiots to do kind of something important." But I think he figured whatever happens, it's going to set off a thing that they're going to have to take care of.
Well, I guess as soon as Rhaenyra said that we're going to kill Aemond, like that's a declaration of war.
Yeah, that was
like they're going all in anyway. So
yeah, and you had White Worm from last season, Mysaria, who's a very interesting character.
She's interesting. The dude, Corlys. He's
Corlys
a fucking
Valerian.
rat.
Yes, the
no, not Corlys. The dude with the one leg, the limp.
Oh,
Strong.
Yeah,
that's Corlys, isn't it?
I think that's him. The sea snake. He runs all the boats.
No, not the sea snake. You fuck. I'm talking about the dude, not the black guy. I'm talking about the white guy with the limp.
The foot fetish guy.
Yes. Oh, that guy is evil. Yes, that guy is all, and he's already like Otto
He's
Hightower
scheming to become the hand.
Yes. No, listen to him. He's like Otto Hightower. I don't know if he has your best interests at heart. I forgot his name, Larys or something.
Larys. There we go.
Yeah, they all have fucking names like that. But again, for a first episode kicking this off, I thought it was really good. The music was great as they're creeping through the Red Keep, and it's increasingly getting tense. And you're like, something's about to fucking happen. And I did not. I guess in the books, it's even more depraved and crazier, so they scaled it back, which is, I think it works because Aegon has now a reason to be really mad, and they got the bigger dragons. Technically,
they do have they have Vhagar.
They have Vhagar, who's fucking huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and there's a lot of planning on maps and how to hold your position, and a lot of who's going to be allying with them.
Oh, they were talking about the Scorpion too.
Wait,
they did.
Oh, that was the weapon, right? Yes,
that's the dragon killing.
Yeah, where
weapon.
they were like dragon.
Yeah. But they were like saying they can't make the Scorpion because
it takes a while to make them. Yeah.
I mean, again, they had the same thing 200 years later. They get the same goddamn Scorpion. They couldn't improve on this design at all. There's an elevator. No, it's dude, it's solid. I mean, the costumes, the fucking acting, it kind of all came back, even though there's a lot of names and I forgot a lot of things. They did a good job of making it easy to get into again.
Hopefully there's no hopefully we don't have any time jumps.
I think we're done. And I think that was probably hurt the first season a little bit, right? It was split.
Just because you got to kind of really understand those characters at that point in their life. Oh, and while I'm watching a basketball, I just saw a half court shot going, doing two things at once.
Playoffs. It's playoff time, isn't it? Is it game 7?
Game 5 of the finals. But I just saw a half court shot going. I got to acknowledge what I just saw. It was just jarring because you got to know those characters at that time, and then you have new actors and actresses, and then just you had to get to know different people. That would be my one criticism, and then the only other thing was it felt like last season kind of. I love last season. Don't get me wrong; it got me back in Game of Thrones, but I felt like they kind of were spinning their wheels a little bit with some of these conflicts. And then it feels like this one, at least, like Rugg said, they're off to the races. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, we are escalating this right away.
War is inevitable. The first season was jarring after the jump, and then there's all these kids, and I could not follow who the fucking kids belong to for a while. And still sometimes it's a little confusing. But you just got to have the captions on. I don't know. It doesn't really tell you. But okay, so I think we all think it's a solid opening. You can rate it if you want, but we will come back and talk about it when the show
8 out of
ends.
10.
Yeah, I'll give it like an 8 or 9 out of 10. I think I would give it 8 out of 10. Solid back into Westeros and all the Game of Thrones shenanigans. Ruggs.
I did literally write when they ended. I go, fuck, they just killed a kid.
I know. Yes, Game of Thrones is back. They killed a fucking child.
I mean, is that the most fucked up thing they've done?
It's up there.
It's pretty fucked up.
I think it's probably got to be the most fucked up. I mean, they did push a kid out the window in the first season.
Yes.
But the kid lives, right? Like, there's no if and this kid heads got cut off.
I mean, the red wedding is like
you literally
a whole
see
family.
the kid's mouth get covered as his eyes would get open, and like they're put a knife to the neck. And you're like,
and then the camera just keeps going,
and you hear him crying.
You hear the sounds of squishy things, and it's fucking disturbing.
It's pretty fucking terrifying.
So apparently, people who have read this Fire and Blood have said that there is more fucked up shit coming, and
of course
they can't wait to see it. Like even stuff that is more fucked up than Game of Thrones, which is what we're already seeing. So yeah, that's fucking promising.
The only the thing that was most fucked up prior to that, I think, was my fucking the dude cutting off the dude's dick.
Yes, Greyjoy.
And then
Yes.
joking around that he was serving it to him.
Yeah, that was some. Yeah, that was some torture. That was some emotion. Jesus, yes. Theon Greyjoy, was that Theon Greyjoy?
Theon,
yeah.
Reek.
Theon and the what was
Reek,
the dude?
that's right.
Reek, yeah.
they had to call him
Reek and what was fucking the dude's name?
The other guy was shit. I can't remember now. He was
That's
so
not
great.
his name. You fuck.
He was so great.
Bolton.
What was it?
Fucking the kid of Bolton.
Ramsay.
Ramsay Bolton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude is evil.
Yeah, he was fucked up.
That dude is fucked up. And there's fucked up people on this show. But you're right, Anthony. I don't know who to root for. Both sides seem right, and both sides also have bad elements in their camps. So I'm not sure. And now they're killing babies. So like, who are you gonna vote for? What?
I mean, that's war, right?
Yeah.
People. Textbooks always paint war as like a good and an evil when it's really never like that.
No. It's a lot of gray. Okay. Very good. We will review the whole series when the season ends. For now, we're going to take a break. We're going to play some promos and talk about more television. The Boys Season 4 premiere coming up right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
What's up? This is Brian, and I'm the host of Citizens of Pawnee, a Parks and Recreation podcast. That's right, a podcast dedicated to my favorite TV show, Parks and Rec. Every week I discuss my favorite things about the show, which include character breakdowns, episode rewatches, and other random facts and tidbits about the show. You can find me on Instagram at Citizens of Pawnee Podcast and listen wherever you get your podcast now. You will literally love it.
I'm Imran.
And I'm Sophia.
I'm the brother.
And I'm the sister. And we are watching a show about cousins.
We're your hosts for Dance of Joy, a Perfect Strangers rewatch podcast.
We grew up watching the 80s hit sitcom, and now we'd like you to join us every week as we rediscover our love for our favorite TV cousins, Balky and Larry.
You can find our show at danceofjoypod.com and on all major podcast platforms. Now we are so happy, Sophia. We do the Dance of Joy.
Imran, this is a podcast. They can't see us.
Oh,
Jock and Nerd.
Listener, if you enjoy this podcast every week, this is a great time to join our awesome Patreon fan club. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon.
Jock and Nerd.
You can give back on a monthly or annual basis. All proceeds go back into keeping the show going. Maintenance, hosting costs. It's because of you. We've been running for 9+ years, and you get stuff like access to an exclusive podcast feed where the shows come out early, bonus content. Again, I mentioned it last week. There's a great bonus episode about our trip to New York. You can hear a detailed description of every day, only on the Patreon. We also do monthly Discord hangouts. And fellas, this month's Discord hangout is this week. It's already been a month. Thursday, June 20th. Be there or be rug boy.
Will I be here?
You better be there.
June 20th?
This Thursday, June 20th, a day after this show.
I'm not going to be there.
Oh, you son of a bitch. I'll be there. Rug boy will be there. Maybe show up. It's always fun. And other fun things over on our Patreon page. Check it out. jockandnerd.com/Patreon. All right, let's get to our other big television review. Man, this is a great time for television. We got a Star Wars show. We got House of the Dragon. There's that My Adventures with Superman cartoon on Max is also come back. And The Boys Season 4. We will be discussing the first 3 episodes of The Boys Season 4. Here's your spoilers.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Be spoiled.
Another one that I forgot what's happened because when Season 3 ended, it was July of 2022. Even farther back than when House of the Dragon Season 1 ended. They did give us the spinoff Gen V late last year in 2023. But again, I think I caught up pretty fine. It's fine. We'll discuss. Now, Ruggs, you only got to see the first episode. We're just going to let the listener know.
Yeah, I didn't watch all 3.
Tell me how you're feeling about this first episode and the show in general in Season 4. Because
I feel like it's taking a step back.
Yeah, this is interesting. Why? What is happening?
I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of nebulous. It's like we've already kind of seen these major conflicts happen, and then there's one thing that's still like on the table, which is this thing from Gen V,
right?
When they created the virus. That's the only interesting thing that's really on the table. Like, you know that this trial is not going to amount to anything. Nothing's going to happen with this trial. This is just like a lot of the stuff is ripped from the headlines and they're just putting it in there. It's not going to really actively change what happens because they still need to do the other things. And I don't know. It just feels like I don't really feel like there's anything that we haven't already seen. They're just upping the how sick they can get.
Is it getting repetitive a little bit to you?
Yeah, like the deep with the squid. You know, I'm like, oh god, this is like we're beating a dead horse here. But it's still better than a lot of stuff. It's still well done.
Yeah.
But I think if you're looking at it in the scheme of the boys, I think this is definitely showing that it's aging and it's kind of wearing. It's wearing a little bit.
So Eric Kripke, before it premiered, came out and said the next season 5 will be the last season of The Boys, officially calling it, which I think is great. This is interesting what you're saying, though, because I saw some of this online. I've always loved the show. I was very excited for this to come back, but I was seeing critics and reviewers saying that the show is kind of turning into the thing it was parodying initially. It is now kind of becoming that thing. They also mentioned the repetitiveness. Like we had the Stormfront storyline, like last season 3. The Firecracker storyline is kind of similar to the Stormfront thing again. And it's definitely more political tinged this season. There's still every episode has a fucking crazy, depraved, holy shit moment, kind of. The one in episode 2 is amazing, and I cannot burn it out of my head. The
ass-eating caterpillar?
Yes, I cannot unsee that. That was just wrong. That was Splinter forming.
And then in the third, you get him fucking naked.
Yes.
Or was that the second?
No,
I don't know. They all run the same.
That's still the second.
Yeah.
That follows.
We see his fucking dick.
Well, we have a bloody fight that spills into a bat mitzvah, a marvelous Miss Maisel bat mitzvah, and there's a bunch of naked splinters around. Yes. But when they catch him in the room doing what he's doing, oh my God. What the fuck? I don't know. Anthony, is it getting repetitive? Is it still good to you?
So I'll just review it as a third, like all three, because I can't.
Yeah.
I have trouble figuring out which one was which after watching them all. The show is still good. So let's just start by saying that the show is still good. You could do worse than watching The Boys. It's still entertaining. Homelander is still probably one of the best characters on TV.
Absolutely.
Going through a midlife crisis. I do still want to know what's going to happen, right? I want to know how they're going to overcome Butcher. I like the dynamic with Butcher having like a disease now, a brain tumor. So there are some interesting things. That said, I am also I haven't read any reviews. I am also a little bit I am getting a little tired of The Boys, and
it's interesting.
I think the reason for that, first off, I think actually announcing that there's going to be a season 5 and that's going to be the end almost makes this season kind of a lame duck.
Oh shit!
Because I know that unless they do something drastic, I know that they're not going to do anything. Like it feels like the show spins its wheels a lot, and they come up with a lot of ways for the main characters to like get into conflict but not actually kill each other.
Right. Yep.
So like there's always like, because like in reality, Homelander should just fucking kill these guys.
Yeah, Homelander should kill Butcher.
But they're always writing a way of like, oh, I've got dirt on this and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So like they're always having to be creative with how to like not have them kill each other. And after 4 seasons of that gets kind of a little repetitive. I would also say, and maybe it's just like I'm noticing it more and I didn't notice it as much, but it feels like the political allegories are really laid on thick now. Like it's blatant. Not even it's very blatant.
Yes.
What side the show is chosen in like the culture war.
Yeah.
And I mean there's like the fucking riots, and then there's critical soup theory that's thrown out there.
Critical soup theory that is, and it's just like schools.
I mean, at some point, I understand what the show, like this is their show, and they're making these statements. But at some point, I watch television at points to like escape from reality.
Yeah.
And I feel like this show is just it's just regurgitating what I've seen on television with superheroes.
Yeah. I think that it's better like it's not as fun. Like when you go watch a comedian and he makes a joke about something, he usually puts a spin on it that you didn't think of or shows the hypocrisy of it.
Yes. Right.
And this was what the boys used to kind of do.
Yes.
Right.
And now they're not really, they're just ripping stuff from the headlines and kind of throwing it in without that like edge where they're making fun of it.
Right. It's become the thing they were making fun of is what people were saying.
And I feel like they are clearly like making fun of one side more than the other. Yeah. And maybe that's just, that's their view on it. And that's it feels more anti-right wing and not like calling out the hypocrisy as much of the left. The plant, like the Antifa plants and like the fucking, like everything's very, it's very much leaned. It's made its bed in what it wants to be. And it's just not as fun. But that said, it's still, I'm still entertained. I'm still invested in these characters where I want to see what's going to happen. But I kind of felt the same way as Ruggs, even though he's only watched one episode.
Yeah.
In that I'm getting a little tired of it.
Well, it's like the cool thing is to be anti-establishment, and we know what the establishment is doing, and so this is kind of going on along establishment lines, and so it's not as fun. They've not killed each other after 4 seasons.
It needs to surprise again a little bit.
And Gen V was fresh.
Yeah,
Gen V was new characters, and they had a clean slate, and they could do whatever they want with them. But these guys, their stories have to get to a point.
Right.
So,
I do like the I don't know if this is a spoiler, but I do like the A train like turning bit.
Yes,
I think that might be something that's intriguing. I'd love to see them bring in some of the Gen V characters. I think they will.
No, we're going to see the blonde, girl, and probably and the other guy. I think maybe.
I don't know how they're going to like beat Sage, like Sister Sage, because like if she's the smartest person in the world, how are they ever going to outsmart her?
I love that we got these 2 new characters, Sister Sage and Firecracker, and they're both really interesting. Sister Sage being, like you said, the smartest person in the world, and I love the advice she gives him and what she does. She's kind of the instigator. She's like, you just have to get the people to destroy the democracy, and you swoop in and save it. And I love where he's like Caesar. And she goes, yeah, like Caesar. But if she's so smart, I'm like, why is she helping Homelander? Does she have an ultimate plan? And then the weird way it ends in episode 3 at the end, where she seems high and she hooks up with the Deep while watching Transformers 2 and eating fucking a blooming onion from Outback. It's very strange. But Sister Sage is a great character. And then you have Firecracker, who is your, TikTok
Well, I
influencer.
did like that, like, she's brought on because Homelander's like all these fucking guys.
Oh my God. That moment where he's like, Deep, I want you to blow A-Train. And he almost does it. And he's like, God damn you fucking imbeciles. He surrounded himself by yes men, and it's gotten boring.
Did they ever get into why Black Nora's back?
No, they've hired.
they do.
What do they say? They just hired somebody.
Yes, they did. They Black Noir is back because they didn't want to reveal that Homelander killed him, so they've hired an actor.
They just hired.
That's actually a funny bit.
It's funny,
guy keeps like wanting to talk.
The guy's like, what's my motivation? I don't know what I'm supposed to be. I just need direction. They're like, shut the fuck up and just stand still.
There's a line when Homelander says, just shut the fuck up to Deep, and I did laugh. I don't know. I forget the context of when he says it to him, but he's like, just shut the fuck up.
I love the moment in the first episode where Homelander makes him kill those guys to death. One of them being Todd.
I also enjoyed Homelander collecting like his gray pubic hairs.
He's collecting.
What do you think that means?
He does not like getting older.
Yeah,
it's scaring him.
There's a line later in I think the second or third episode where they're like they're having the kid on because they want to break the kid. It's a thing. They want to make his son a thing, and they're like, "Oh, he's like fresh. Like we don't have to airbrush his wrinkles out." Homelander hears it, and he's just like, "Fucking son of a bitch."
Yeah, he is. Old. He's getting old, and him collecting his white pubes in a jar is amazing. No, after Black Noir and them kill those dudes, Black Noir's like, "What the fuck, yo? That was so fucked up, you guys." He's like, "Do we always do that?" Dude, it's like, does Homelander tell us to kill people a lot? A-Train's like, just shut the fuck up.
The formula is still entertaining. It's just tired. It's getting a little tired. Like it's getting to me. I would equate it to like how I was starting to feel when like we were into the towards the middle of Walking Dead, like season 7.
Oh boy!
I was like, maybe not season 7 where it really fell off the rails, but like maybe the season before where I was like, I think they're losing it a little bit.
Get that?
I think they're losing it.
It's feeling the strain.
Right.
I know there's more source material too, so I wonder what if they have something planned that's crazy for the rest of the season.
Well, the good thing is that The Boys, it's an A series, and so if it drops to like a B, it's
still very good,
better than a lot of other things.
Yes, because like you, Anthony, I'm invested in Butcher's relationship with Ryan. Like I thought that was a very emotional scene. It was so good. He was going to drug him, and he decides not to, and he kind of lets his guard down. Newman is an interesting character. That's scene at the beginning with her kid with the technicals ripping Kamiko's arm off. Everybody's got their own storylines, right? Like Frenchie is fucking the guy whose family he murdered.
I hate old Frenchie. Like, what is that? Why is he fucking the guy that murdered? I don't. That just makes that's so out of left field for me.
Taking drugs and tripping during a fight scene.
Like when did he become gay? Like when did he become bisexual?
I feel like he was bisexual. There was a hints of it.
Was there?
I feel like there's a few hints before.
I feel like there wasn't. I feel like he's always been straight. The whole thing has been like him with the Wolverine girl.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden he's fucking the dudes.
Yeah. And
fucking the dude that he murdered the family of.
And she's cool with it. She's like, look, go be happy. I love you, but I need you to be happy.
I just think it's random as fuck. I'm like, where did this come from?
Okay. It does kind of seem like he's just all of a sudden bisexual, but I feel like they hinted at it a little bit, maybe not enough. Huey's father has a stroke. His mom shows up who deserted him when he was 6, and he's trying to reconcile, and she has power of attorney. And he's been a dick to her, which she should. She left him, but then by the end of the 3rd episode, he asks her what actually happened, and she tells him, and I guess they're good now. So he's not been doing much. Starlight steps back into kind of a role.
Does Starlight look different to you?
I see. So there was that whole thing, right, about plastic surgery and Erin Moriarty and these photos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a whole thing. People were saying,
to be honest.
I don't think she looks that different. She looks like older, like she was when she's older. But did she look different to you, Ruggs?
Yes.
Yes.
I was like, wow, this is a real.
She looks the same.
I noticed a big difference. Yeah, of course, but
her face. I mean, yeah, okay. I guess I'll say her face structure is much more sharp and defined.
Okay.
Than it used to be.
Okay.
And she was like already a thin girl to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a spoiler, Ruggs, but Anthony, what'd you think of when we learned about Firecracker's history with Starlight? And
it's a nice little twist, right? Because like Starlight's been presented as this goody two shoes character, and it adds a little bit more complexity to her character, but also like gives that Firecracker character a motivation. It's good.
Starting a rumor.
It's good. Great. I think one of the things, but besides all the stuff I mentioned too, is I feel like Huey really has nothing to do.
He hasn't done anything right now. Yeah, so far.
Yeah, and he's kind of the everyman character that like we followed from the beginning.
Yeah.
So it feels like for him, there's nothing going on really with him.
They made his dad have a stroke. That's his whole story.
He's just kind of dealing with like family issues, but there's nothing he's doing. I mean, I did enjoy the scene where like he's in the vents and Homelander's like, yes, I fucking smell him.
Yeah, he's
and like
trying to
trying to like laser him, and then he accidentally fucking lasers one of the girls in half on the ice.
Yes, the ice capade slaughter is kind of hilarious, and I'm surprised he didn't get him, but A-Train saved him. That's right.
Right.
And
the A-Train thing is an intriguing plot.
And Mother's Milk is trying to flip A-Train, and it's kind of working. He helps him out, gives him footage, and that Will Ferrell cameo where he's filming this like ghetto movie. It's like a white savior story is hilarious. He's like, why are you saying yayo to the gangbangers? So that's fun, but and then the Deep can't quit his octopus, basically.
So I mean, it's an allegory for him being like gay.
Oh, right? You think that's what it is? But
yeah, the octopus is in the fucking closet. You can't like reveal.
Octopus is in the closet. He's supposed to get rid of it.
Can't reveal like that he has a relate. It's pretty heavy-handed.
Octopus voiced.
It's just they're just using an octopus.
Who's afraid to be gay now?
Yeah,
there are people that are afraid to be gay now.
He could learn from Frenchie. Frenchie's out there being himself. The octopus voiced by Tilda Swinton. So
right,
yeah, it's kind of crazy. Mother's Milk without a
I did enjoy the line where she's like, you haven't cleaned my tank in a couple of days. Look at all the algae.
Look at the algae blow up here. What's the matter, baby? Come on. We haven't been intimate. He's like, no. Mother's Milk without a beard looked weird for a while. I was like, is that the same guy? I didn't think it was the same
It did
guy.
throw me off, too.
The same guy. The scene at TruthCon, fantastic. We talked about the whole Splinter thing and the bar mitzvah fight is fantastic. And then episode 3, they do like a Pizzagate thing. Again, heavy-handed political allegories. They do a whole Pizzagate with the guy coming in. To where,
Which one is this?
Where the Starlighters are. And he's like, where do you keep the kids? In the basement? He's like, order a pizza, right? And he had a gun. Like, that happened because there was a rumor that the pizza store and restaurant was like a child pedo thing. And a guy actually went in there with a gun trying to free these kids that he thought was in the basement. So they literally did the same thing. So, like we were talking about, instead of it being satire or commentary, they're just literally just making the news.
Playing history out on screen, which is not as fun.
Yeah.
It's lazier. It's lazy.
It's more of a twist.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But I mean, I would say, the first 3 episodes, they were entertaining. Don't get me wrong. And I'm fully invested in the characters. And I think that's why I'm still into it.
Yeah.
But just a lot of spinning your wheels and a lot of very obvious political allegories that make it less fun.
I do like Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character Kessler and how his mentality regarding Ryan is, look, we got to flip and train Ryan, or we got to figure out how to kill Ryan. And Butcher, of course, doesn't want that, but he's dying. So that's something interesting. I don't know what's going to happen to Ryan. And it's really funny how Ryan is upset, and Homelander thinks he's upset because he stole his save, but he's really upset because he killed a dude. Murdered a coworker, and he's like, "Oh, that's why you're sad." Oh, what a dad! Homelander is quite the dad. And then then there's a thing with the cracked mirror, and he's talking to his reflection at the end of episode 3, and they're like, "You got to go home." I don't know what that was about, and he just fucking fucks off. So, Oh, what episode was the butthole picture? We need to talk about this.
I think it was the first episode.
It wasn't the first episode.
The what?
The fucking great moment where Butcher tells Newman, I got the files from Huey for you here. And she's in the limo and she opens her phone and it's a picture of somebody spreading their asshole in their butthole. You didn't see that?
No, what was that?
You missed that? Oh my God.
I think I missed it.
It's the first episode.
It's in the first episode. He sends her a picture of an asshole and her reaction is amazing. And it turns out that's her authentic reaction. They didn't tell her they were going to do that. So you see her kind of break. Who
sees a butthole?
Victoria Newman in the limo.
Who sends her a butthole?
Butcher on her phone. He texts her.
Yeah, Butcher says he's going to give her something.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And then he sends her a picture of his butthole.
I didn't expect to see a butthole. I was like, oh my God. So that is her authentic reaction. They didn't tell her they were going to do that. And you could kind of see her crack up right there a little bit. But what a reaction. So, it's stuff like that keeps me invested. The butthole.
Stop it, Imran. God, stop.
Splinter.
Pictures of buttholes.
You didn't even know that just stop it. You didn't even know that was a thing in the moment. Shut up. That's the stuff that keeps you invested.
No, I'm saying stuff like that, and Splinter doing the train on himself, and Kamiko's little baby arm regenerating. I love all those things, but
you like those little things.
But it does seem like a heavy political thing this season, and maybe
maybe it was always like that, and I just didn't recognize it. But I feel like it's just so heavy-handed this season. So far,
it is, and I've seen people write about that, and I was like, it's very interesting. And it was interesting. Ruggs wasn't into it, and I was like, I think this. I want to know.
Yeah, it's just what you can definitely definitely feel that there's a tonal shift. The boys have always been political, but they've been very smart about it.
Yeah.
And they've been very divisive, and they've been very slick in how they do it with a twist. And this is not that. This is a little different. It seems like a little bit less sophisticated.
Right. I agree with you.
They also, if you think of the end of last season, they're not killing people either. Like that whole, remember Maeve grabs Soldier Boy out the window and he explodes and you think everybody's
She's
dead.
not dead.
She's not dead. He's not dead.
Wait, Maeve isn't dead?
No, she survived that shit. Yeah. And I think the CIA still has Soldier Boy on ice, so they're still out there.
Nobody dies in the show.
Nobody dies on the show, which is the show.
Just regular people get hit in the head with fucking baseball bats.
People get lasered left and right. I mean, Homelander lasers that employee because she talked to fucking Starlight without asking her. And I love that too. He lasers her, and Sister Sage is like, "Don't you think the next words out of her mouth would have been helpful?" And he's like, "Whatever. Well, there's the plug. I sealed it. Fixed the leak." It's fantastic. He's such a psychopath, and Anthony Starr is amazing in this role.
No, he's good. He's very good in the
I
role.
love watching him in this role.
His psychosis is probably the most interesting thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it ends with him having to go back and confront his own past.
Yes, he says you got to go home. So what does that mean? That little room he was raised in? Remember he was like,
right.
I forgot all that. Yeah. So all right, good stuff. Again, same thing. If you had to rate this opening, what would you give it?
6 out of 10.
6. Oh man.
Whoa.
I'll give it like a 7.
I'm rating the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, I'll give it like a 7.5.
Of course you
overall. Rugs.
I didn't watch all 3.
Well, you do the first one.
The first one was, I would say, like a 7.
I think those things that you felt about this, they do continue in the next 2 episodes. So I feel like it's going to continue.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't seen the rest, and I feel like I'm not enthusiastic about it, but I feel like it could drastically drop to like a 5.5.
Or it could become incredible, and they're just saving it. You know,
maybe.
We'll see. We'll check back in when the show ends. Let's find out what our listeners thought right now. News from the nation. It's time for news from the nation.
It's time for news from the nation.
It stinks.
It's like a sad fart.
It stinks.
That's like I'm exhausted from a long day at work fart right there.
Yeah, there's no power behind it
It's
at all.
just comes out. Regarding Hot D, Jose Ibarra says, once Damon goes into hoodie mode, you just know some diabolical shit is about to go down. Yes, he was in hoodie mode. And then Michael Brewster says, I totally get setting up the season, but I wanted a little more to go down. I would have waited for episode 2 if I knew it would be all set up. The Dance of Dragons is here finally. I don't know. There was a lot that happened. But it was just set up for, I don't know, a long war season. And then regarding The Boys, Brian Goff just goes, come on, I don't want to miss Smash Mouth. That's a great line by Homelander, remember? He's like, let's go. He had some good lines. Smash Mouth is playing there. And then Michael Brewster again says, why are the reviews so low on Amazon? Pretty good so far. But I think
it's the politics of the show.
Yeah. I think maybe it's starting to be too blatant and too heavy-handed. But it's still good, man. It's
good. I don't think it's as good as it was. I think they're walking a fine line here.
So on Rotten Tomatoes, season 4 is 95% critic review, 52% audience score. But we've seen how these audience scores go. Maybe there's some review bombing. Speaking of review bombing, let's slide into what are we watching. You guys, did we all catch up on The Acolyte?
Yes.
Okay.
I did, just because I heard how bad this was getting this episode, so I was like, let me hate watch this one.
Okay, spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
First of all, the review bombing on The Acolyte's gotten so bad that there's this movie that's from like 2018 called Acolyte.
Do we know that this is review bombing, or is it real reviews that people are just like, how do we know it's review bombing?
Part of it is review bombing because it happened before the shows. They posted before the show actually came out.
Okay.
Part of it is probably sincere, but you also know it's review bombing because there's a random movie called The Acolyte that is also getting review bombed by accident because they've searched the wrong Acolyte thing to leave a bad review. Okay. And so I'm like, okay, I see what's going on. Anyways, episode 3, yes, this was the one. Everybody was like, this is either the best thing or this is going to break Star Wars. I've seen a lot of reactions to it. I didn't see what the big deal was overall, but I could see how people react to this. Anthony, you watched it.
I did.
I'm glad you did. What are your thoughts? Tell us what happens real quick and why it is what it is.
Oh, it's a flashback to why these girls are the way they are when they were kids. I pointed this out last week. You didn't notice. I don't know if Rugs Boy noticed. I'm sure you had to have noticed now.
Did.
But right off the bat, we've got two light-skinned black girls that don't look alike. They've casted as twins.
They're supposed to.
They're sisters in real life, but they're not identical twins.
They're not at all. Like it's not close.
Okay,
it's
so
not even close.
It could be fraternal twins, but yeah,
But they show
They
up.
grow up, but they grow up to be identical.
identical twins. Yes,
Yeah.
I see.
Oh, and they're like, we know how we're going to explain the hair thing. They had this since they were
They
children.
had the same hairstyle their whole life.
Because we all keep the same hairstyle.
You never
since we're
change your
children.
hair.
Yeah, I mean this episode. First off, it's just so kiddie. It's just so cheap and kiddie, and it's stupid. The acting's bad. There's a line I said this earlier where "What have you done? No, what have you done? No, what have you done?" Like it's just, I don't know how anyone could like this show.
I'm going to kill you because if you don't want to be here.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
just such. I mean, she's like the good child or whatever Macaulay Culkin's thing is.
yeah, the good son.
The good son. I mean, and they portray the Jedi as these like creepy bastards that are like fucking slothing around and just like taking kids.
Stealing
Like, what is
kids.
that?
Yeah.
Are the Jedi just assholes
I'm
that
not sure.
kidnap kids? Like, what's their reasoning for being able to do this? That doesn't make them look sympathetic
Why
at all
are
either.
they the only ones that can train children and take them?
I mean, like this is just fucking stupid shit. They're like slothing around being creepy, and then they want to like take the kids, but the kids don't want to go. It's one of them doesn't, one does, and the parents are like, "No, don't take them." And then he's just like, "Oh, here's my gun. Here's a loaded gun.
Here's a lightsaber. Play with
Here's
it.
a lightsaber. If you play with it and maybe poke your eye out."
I wanted her.
Like, it's just so fucking stupid ass shit.
I wanted her to turn.
Who likes this? Who writes this?
But,
The fucking song they sing.
They were
What?
singing the
Power
chant.
of one.
What was
The
that?
singing was
Two.
bad.
What? The
Power of many.
space witches were singing.
I mean, it's just like written for like 3-year-olds. What is this bullshit? And I don't even. And I'm not a Star Wars fan, but like, why are you fucking making the Jedi look like shit? Like the Jedi look terrible. Then like again, stupid shit like, oh, the kid like doesn't want you to join, so I'm gonna fucking kill you, and then I'm gonna fucking set a fire in this place, and it's fucking made of wood, stone. And it's just like there's a big and like it's cutting away so that they're like, oh, there's some real shit happened, like the Jedi fucking did some bullshit, but it's just cut so poorly. Like one scene, there's a fire. Next thing, all these witches are dead.
Yeah, how did that happen?
And you know what that like? They're gonna like fucking shit all over the Jedi, which like I'm sure as Star Wars fans, you guys are happy about that. They're just gonna shit all over the Jedi for no reason. So like, what is this? It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, it would have been more interesting if it was just one lone Jedi that was corrupt and he was like fooling all the other Jedi. But it seems like they're all in on this.
Yeah, there's like a big conspiracy, right?
And they're all acting like complete assholes, and that's not the Jedi. The Jedi way is not to do this,
right?
Right. The Jedi way is to not do any of this stuff. So it's just weird that there's a whole group of them that's acting this way, and I don't know, just weird.
They're bad guy space
because
cops.
they're trying to compare this kind of like realization that like, okay, so I'm going to try and do this so religion. I think I spoke about this in the other thing, but the religion is this thing that's like kind of fucked up and it has no basis. But the Force and using the Force is some guys like the culmination of what all the religions want to do, where you can actually interact with the universe and the universe responds to you.
It's the thread, though.
And you become one with the universe. The thread, whatever you want to call it. You can call it different things. It doesn't bother me that they call it the thread. There's millions of religions out there that call God different things and interact with. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do think that when you've basically like, you could say like, oh, people who are religious, they don't really talk to God. You don't know that for sure, but you know that the Force is real.
Yeah.
You know that they're in tune to the point where they can manipulate the Force. So you know that there is something going on. And I think George Lucas made a big mistake by making it be down to midichlorians because it makes the Jedi Order seem stupid.
Right.
Because now it's like, oh, you're just born with fucking midichlorians and then you can be a Jedi. But when the original idea before this midichlorian bullshit was that anybody can tune into the Force if they really just and you have to kind of be very balanced. You have to achieve complete balance. And you can't be in complete balance if you're fucking with kids. You become a Sith at that point, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway,
what's the? Let me ask you this, because this is something I saw online, and obviously I'm not in tune with the Star Wars fan base, but apparently the Force, Luke was a Luke, or was it Luke or
Anakin was also
like
immaculate conception.
Yeah. But now they're saying that these babies are like basically immaculate.
She said
conception.
that you carried them, but I created them. Like that mother.
Does that fuck with Star Wars at all, or is that not a big deal?
I mean, Filoni's been fucking with this all the time.
It's kind of like Anakin. It's kind of like the same thing.
There was a I don't know if it was they created Savage Opress, but Savage Opress was somebody that they manipulated into being Savage Opress, which is Darth Maul's brother. And they kind of, the Night Witches, the Witches of Dathomir, kind of enhanced him. So I feel like Dave Filoni has always been pushing in that direction. I don't know why he's doing that, but I really think that, this is the whole entire thing about Anakin is that he is the Messiah, right? He is born of the Force.
Yeah.
But I think the real Messiah is Yoda, because no one can tell what the fuck he is.
Well,
he's just of the Force.
Yeah.
But so there's multiple beings that are of the Force. I just think that I could have done without the stupid singing.
Singing was weird. Wait, Ruggs, these witches are like the early versions of the Night Sisters of Dathomir, right? Gotta be.
One would think, they're not as dark. They're not as like outwardly evil. They feel like that they've been wronged, and they feel like they have
outcast,
to hide outcast from society. But I don't know. That's a little bit too close to home too.
So I think the whole episode, what they showed us, first of all, they show us like May like falling, but she's alive. Like we knew that she survived. Like we didn't need to see it again. But I feel like the whole thing they showed us may not be the whole story, and it may be from one person's perspective.
100%. Well, yes, it's definitely not the whole story.
Because it makes no sense. She starts that fire, and then everybody's just dead, and it's made of stone. I was like, what? What happened? What is this? It didn't make sense.
No, it's. I mean, it's definitely.
So there's more.
There's something more to it. Like I think someone stated like this is just might be one perspective.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's fucking so stupid. I mean, it's written just so it's. The dialogue, the fucking kid actors, the fucking insulting of my intelligence by casting two kids that don't look alike. I mean, you have to be 5 years old to enjoy this. I just don't
think
get
this was a good episode, just in terms of an episode of television. I don't think
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to take the Star Wars lore out of it, and you want to take away the canon and all that other stuff, and just not even involve any of that, just the fact that these girls are twins. They don't look alike. the kids, the way that the Jedi come in and then they're like, we don't fuck with kids. And they're like, let's fuck with your kid.
Right.
Like it was dumb. Like it was so dumb, and I don't get it, but like it was just not written well.
And what motivates Osha to want to be a Jedi?
Yeah, and then why did she leave? Also, it doesn't matter.
Like her family. All of a sudden, she's like all gung ho about being a Jedi and like leaving.
I feel like she just wants to explore.
And then May wants to kill her. Like this is all.
You can't.
Who writes this?
If you leave, I will kill you. I can stop you from leaving.
Has anyone ever shown up to your doorstep unexpected and you go, "I want to do that and leave my family"?
It would be, it would be great if they would have just done like. She's growing up all around women, and then she sees a little boy somewhere, and she's like, "Oh, I want to fuck this guy."
Oh, he's a man.
I mean, if they were a little older, they aged him up.
I mean,
and then there's like and then the witches are all lesbians, and they're like being persecuted, and they're like
witches,
and they're like the Jedi are like persecuting them because they're using come on, like. Why is this so heavy-handed? Like what? Like this is like the boys at this point. What are we doing here? Like, why does it have to be like this? And then the show's more concerned about like making these words a thing. Like last episode it was Mechneck.
Oh, God.
This one is Spice Cream.
Oh, right.
Like,
I forgot about Spice Cream.
Why is it so like? Who likes this? What is this? And I see a lot of. Looked at Reddit. A lot of people like it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, does anyone see that this is fucking stupid?
I don't think it's good from a writing standpoint. I don't.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I'm not like after being my childhood completely being trampled after the Last Jedi, and just them like fucking with Luke and whatever, and just ripping that whole thing apart. Like I don't expect anything from Star Wars anymore. I don't expect good Star Wars. Every once in a while we'll get an Andor that like it just works on its own, and it's just good because it's done well. We're not getting that here. We're not getting that these days. So
Sean Chandler put out a video where he was like, it seems like Disney, all the Disney properties right now, they want to like, they're just obsessed with deconstructing the heroes. You know, with what they did with Luke and Indiana Jones, and now he's like now they're doing this with the Jedi, where they're like deconstructing them.
Everyone's doing it. Everyone's been doing it. Like, can we stop now? Like, we get it.
Are we done with this yet?
Like Frank Miller deconstructed Batman in 1984,
84, 86,
something like that.
Yeah.
And then Watchmen deconstructed the superheroes.
Yeah.
Then we've been deconstructing shit for like now 30 years. Or can we stop?
Can we construct things? Actually, can we just try to build things? Maybe.
Yeah, I don't get the point of like fucking with the Jedi. Like what? Like they just seem so creepy right now, and the like what we're missing makes them even more sinister. If they were like killing the witches and shit.
Yeah, if they killed all those witches, what the fuck happened?
I think being a Jedi is a struggle in it itself.
Yeah.
Like you have to like become something that's more than a human. You have to like let go of like human wants and needs to kind of take care of people and be this like good force. And I think that that's compelling. And then when you shit on it, it just makes it like, well, if you don't do the force, you're the Sith. So like, we already have the dichotomy. We have people who can't hack it and become Sith.
Right.
So, but they want to add more. They want to add spins to it. Force users, whatever. Anybody can use it. They have midichlorians. I don't know. It's cheapening it every time.
There's a Wookiee Jedi in live action. That's fun. He hasn't done anything yet, really, has he?
Well, I love that the Jedi just sloth around and then show up out of nowhere and like, hey,
we got kids here.
We're gonna take your kids now.
You're not supposed to have kids here. You didn't read.
How do they know? They feel it in the Force.
Maybe there were. I mean, there was an ascension happening, right? And she's doing some kind of magic. So
they're singing the best, one of the greatest songs you've ever created in life.
They were singing the Disney hits to get the ascension to happen. Look, I kind of buy that Osha is like, I want to see the rest of this galaxy. I want to be a Jedi, but. When he gave her the lightsaber, I was like, oh, God, please turn it on and just laser him. It would be hilarious because why are you giving a child a fucking lightsaber?
It's only the one of the most dangerous weapons in the galaxy.
It's like handing a kid a loaded gun. Be like, here, play with this. You could be one of us.
Isn't this cool?
But it is weird. It's like cops like going into like lower income neighborhoods going, hey, kids, want to play with a gun? Why don't you be a cop? Come on, let's go.
It's very fascist.
What the hell is this? This is kind of crazy. That they do that,
and then you just throw in the child actors are bad. It's just so poorly written.
So
it's the worst. I mean, the thing is, like, the whole angle with this is like we're doing a murder mystery.
Yeah, but there's no mystery anymore.
What is the mystery?
There's no, except for the guy.
We all know it's the Jedis that are bad.
Except for the guy in the helmet. The master is still the mystery.
No, we know that's the guy. We know it's that.
I think they purposely misled us a lot this episode. So that's going to keep me watching. But
sure, I think they might have kept. I'm going to hate watch this now because I enjoy.
Great, that's fantastic.
I do enjoy just hate watching it and being like, how is this? Why is this so stupid?
Quamir, isn't it going to be Quamir?
Yeah, so that's what Hamper said last week. That was the speculation.
There's going to be more because if there isn't more, this is one of the worst written episodes you'll ever see in your life.
It's got to be going
one of the
somewhere.
Most poorly edited episodes you'll ever see.
Because it's also weird that they would show you all this so soon. Like I was like, okay, it's a weird time to show this, but
there's a fire in a room.
Yeah.
By the way, the room's made of stone.
The whole thing is made of stone.
And all of a sudden, the next shot is a fucking stone factory in flames.
Stone is on fire for some reason.
Right.
And all the witches are dead. They're not burnt. They're just dead. So it better be something. So.
Well, also going back to, I was thinking about this because I was thinking about like the dude that like is meditating and like kills himself.
Yes.
And like, we don't know why he killed him. Like this, we still don't know why he killed himself. But even thinking back to that, just how poorly the show is written, because she's trying to kill him and he's in his meditative state.
Yeah.
And then when she comes back with the poison, he's like, okay, now I'll kill myself.
Yeah, for some reason, he decides to talk after 10 years.
No, but what I'm getting at is, if he was guilty about this the whole time and she showed up, why didn't she just let him kill him then?
Yeah, why they didn't?
Why did she have to wait till why did he wait till she brought back poison? Then he's like, okay, now I'll kill myself.
It's a good point, and it's a little fillery, right? It's a little doing it
because it's
for
stupid.
for no reason.
The show is written for 5-year-olds.
Jesus.
This actor, this lady, whoever's the showrunner, is
Leslie
trying to
Headland.
be like edgy, and like woke, and like has her agenda, and she wants to like put her spin on Star Wars and like deconstruct the Jedi. Whatever, I don't give a fuck about the Jedi, but no, that's still kind of fucked up too if you're a Star Wars fan. But it's she's just like she's not smart, and the show is not written well, and it sucks.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
And I can't wait to hate watch the next episode.
It's kind of like what happened to She-Hulk a little bit too, I feel.
Yeah.
It's happening again.
Well, like I just think that they're doing it too much. I think that you got to have fun and you got to weave it in better, and it's got to like they're not doing anything over the top. They weren't like fucking full on like making out or anything or doing anything weird. They just made it was very tasteful how they handled this whole episode with some of that stuff.
Sure.
But it just doesn't help that the episode is bad on a canon level.
The writing and the dialogue is bad, and even like the sets look kind of cheap. And I
told you this from the beginning. It looks cheap.
Think about Godzilla -1. Somebody posted like Godzilla -1 was made for half the cost of one episode of The Acolyte. Like I think they're spending like $30 million.
It's for craft services cost.
Jesus Christ!
Jeremy John said it's like CW Star Wars, and it does feel like CW Star Wars.
The sets are off. They don't look right. This show is getting so much fucking hate online. Like I really think it's going to do a little bit of damage. Permanent damage to Star Wars things moving forward.
Well, how much more can they take?
Yeah, that's the thing. Is the beating has been going on for a while.
Inside Out has done well.
Yeah. That was a big win for them.
And it's a juggernaut at the box office. Well, that's a good win for them. But
Deadpool
like
Wolverine will be big, but I don't.
Star Wars is a pretty dilapidated corpse right now, other than Andor.
Yeah, other than Andor, it's kind of.
But I think Pixar has nowhere near who's managing Star Wars.
Yeah. So it goes back to Kathleen Kennedy, right? Like, and I don't think she's.
Well, it's Kevin Feige and Kathleen Kennedy are kind of. Kathleen Kennedy's been having multiple just bad shows.
She's been. I mean, there's no way. Like Kevin Feige had a pretty solid run for 10 years.
Yeah,
but now he's kind of like
it's a little iffy now. Yeah, he's definitely on the. But like Kathleen Kennedy, I don't think it's been anything less. The first couple Star Wars at least made money. But I don't think it's been anything less than an unmitigated disaster since she's been in charge.
So, like, if you look at her producer credits, she has produced some of the greatest movies. She's a great producer, but maybe it does not translate to running like a studio or being in charge of the whole franchise.
She was a producer, but a producer is not a director.
Yeah.
A producer just hires the people.
Yeah.
But I think that she was hired by George Lucas.
Yeah.
I don't think that she hired him. It was his movie. Star Wars is his movie.
Yeah. I believe he picked her, yes.
Yes. So
all right. Anyways, we'll be watching The Acolyte. Lots of fun. Again, Peak TV. We got Star Wars, we got the boys, we got
when I saw the YouTube videos that were like, this is the episode that ruins everything, I'm like, I gotta watch this.
This is amazing. It's amazing press.
I did hate myself watching it though. I was like, oh, this sucks. This really sucks.
It depends on where it goes. The damage is done, but I think that how bad it could go.
They have 5 episodes to like bring this back around. I don't know if it's gonna happen.
Well, what do you think?
The mystery is what the Jedi did some fucked up shit, right?
And who's the master? Who's her master? Who trained her?
Well, that's who's the man? Who's the guy in black? But like, who's the guy in black? And what did the Jedi do in that fucking cave?
I mean, okay,
why did they do that?
Can this show save itself in 5 episodes? The odds are low. That's all. So far.
I mean, the evidence would suggest to me it's still going to look cheap.
Yeah. So
and there's still bad dialogue.
Yeah, the dialogue's really bad. Maybe if they have different directors doing the other episodes.
Have you ever heard a kid? I'm going to go back to this line when they're on the bridge and they're yelling at each other. Say, "What have you done?" Have you ever seen like a 6-year-old yell that to another kid? What have you done? And then the response back is, "What have you done?"
What have you done?
And then the response back to that is, "What have you done?"
Wait, that was in this episode?
Yes, that's a line. That's the line. The kids. There's everywhere there's fire. The twins look at each other.
Oh, right.
And Osha goes to May, "What have you done?" And May goes, "What have you done?" And then Osha goes, "What have you done?"
Oh my God.
That's a line. That's 3 lines.
Wow.
From kids.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Well,
where we're at right now.
I watched Moist Critical, which is a YouTuber, very very popular YouTuber with the young folk, and he even had a bad take. And he's usually pretty like
Pro Star Wars.
yeah, he's pretty pro everything. Like he's not like he's critical, but he's like he's usually like on these issues in Star Wars. He's pretty all right with everything, but he hated this. So
It's just bad.
Anthony, you watch anything else outside of basketball and Star Wars?
I'm watching just some basketball. I will say, just to like kind of show Star Wars a little love. I think this was probably the worst time ever to get into Star Wars. So
Yeah.
you guys making me watch Star Wars at this time.
This is not helping.
This does
of
not
course, with
help
the basketball.
my
It's
love
not
for Star Wars.
helping. Yes.
Could you imagine like being a new fan and being like, this is what I grew up with.
Oh God.
This is my Star Wars.
Oh God.
It's just it's just a lot of mediocre shit.
Dan Murrell put out a how to fix Star Wars video.
Oh.
And he really did his best to kind of like sidestep a lot of the drama and just get to nuts and bolts of stuff.
Yeah.
And the first thing that he said, which is probably the most brilliant thing that you can do, which I've been saying for the longest time, is why the fuck did they make all this shit non-canon, Kathleen Kennedy?
Yeah.
Like all of the video games that were cool that everybody liked, all of those books that everybody read and liked.
They kept those.
Yeah. Why did they should make them, they should just fucking throw out everything they've done and start over and make all new canon.
The stories were there.
Of course.
You know, they had the potential, they had the good source material. So, all right. It's crazy. Enough about the Star Wars. It's fucking,
That was fun.
it was fun. It's fun.
Thank
It's
you.
fun. Yes. Hate watching. So this will be.
Sometimes it's fun to shit on things.
Yes. Yes.
And Star Wars, there's nothing more fun for me to shit on than Star Wars.
Ruggs, did you watch anything else?
I watched Ultraman Rising. Did I say that already or not?
No, I also
Let
watched
said
this.
that offline.
Yeah, new on Netflix, Ultraman Rising.
Is this a movie?
It is a movie, animated movie,
Yeah.
and I thought this was really good. The animation is spectacular. It's kind of like a mix of like Into the Spider-Verse and the TMNT, but the story, it's like a proper like kaiju movie and a proper superhero movie. And emotional. It's got a lot of heart. I really enjoy this. I thought it was fantastic. Ruggs, what'd you think?
I feel like it was missing something, but it was good. I think it was really good. I think that it was missing a little bit more Ultraman stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't know. Like, they never got into like how he's Ultraman. Like, why is he Ultraman? How does he have powers? Like, how does it work?
Right.
Like, they just don't. So I feel like if this is the first movie a kid sees, they're gonna go along with it, but they're gonna have questions.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, "What the fuck am I? Like, what can he do?
How does
what
this
is he
actually
doing?
work?
Why does he get big? Like, how does he get big? Like, where does his powers come from? He's just a thing, and you have to just. Why is it passed down from person? You don't know any of that stuff. So I didn't like that they never got into that, and I just think that the monster designs were kind of like in the beginning when they had the traditional monster designs. I was like, cool, and then they went to these new ones look like just Pokemons.
A little bit.
And,
I like Gigantron. I thought Gigantron was cool.
You thought he was cool?
I thought he was cool. Anthony, it's a fun, heartfelt movie, right? It's essentially, like you said, Ruggs, it's right. They just, Ultraman is this established thing that's been around for 30 years. That's how the movie starts. And Kenji is this little kid, and his dad is Ultraman, and his dad eventually gets injured. But Kenji, in the beginning, asks him, do you want to be Ultraman, or do you want to play baseball?
Is this one of
He
your
loves
typical
baseball.
Imran summaries?
No, I'm going to be quick. I just get to just tell you the motivation of what they do, which is very nice. The kid grows up to be a baseball player and a very talented baseball player, Kenji. But then his dad has an injury. He needs to come back to Japan and be Ultraman.
They never even go into that either.
Yes, they don't.
Like, what happened to his dad?
Yes,
like
for some
that
reason,
would have been some pathos.
So the first great dynamic is he doesn't really want to be Ultraman. He wants to be this hotshot baseball player, but it's hurting his career as a baseball player to be Ultraman. And then the real setup of the story is he is left in charge of a baby kaiju that nobody thought was around. And he's adorable. So now he has to kind of become a father and take care of this thing while they're trying to get it.
But you didn't think that they're like, oh, mom disappeared. But why? How? What happened? No one knows what happened to the fucking mom.
I don't know what happened to the mom.
Like,
it
if
is
you try
unclear.
and use this is the worst. Well, they're not trying to freaking be heavy-handed about it. They're just, you're more, but there's nothing to look at.
I thought she just died. Yeah.
No, she's missing. She's in outer space somewhere. There's a deleted scene and a bonus scene at the end of the movie where she contacts him through the thing. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You're not even going to like go into what happened to the mom. Like all these things are important.
Yeah.
So the movie, in spite of all those things that's missing, is still very enjoyable. And I think it's a really good, but it could have been a fucking masterpiece. And they blew it by not putting those two things in there.
It's pretty good, though. It's close. I do agree. It could use a little more information. And they do the thing where they're fighting in the middle of the ocean and they're just like standing on the water. And I was like, you know what? At this point, you just have to allow it. It's cartoon. I'm like, what are they standing on?
Yeah, the ocean's apparently only 50 feet deep.
Yes, why is everybody standing on the ocean?
They're waiting. Haven't you ever waded in the water?
Yes, but no, he's literally like running. He's standing on the water, running at.
I know.
But I thought it was really good. It's fun to watch.
I think you should watch it, Andy.
Yeah, I think you would like it. Great animation because it does the things a good kaiju movie does, and it does things a good superhero movie does, and they kind of combine it.
I probably will. I will say though, out of all, I never really caught on to Ultraman.
Yeah,
Ultraman was my least favorite. Yeah, obviously between Godzilla.
Well, Ultraman is a rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
So Ultraman's just rinse and repeat. They just do the same thing over and over again, and they have different, like Ultra 7's a little bit more serious. They have different takes, but so and in the recent past, they've gotten really heavy into like Power Ranger-esque like toy selling shit, like cards that they stick in their thing. Cards like, oh, I'm gonna stick a card into my sleeve, and then I'm gonna get into a new fucking transformation. And I just thought that that's a little cheesy, but overall, like it's just a standard rinse and repeat monster of the week show.
It's just like another kaiju universe, right? Parallel to
I think that the Ultraman anime that they had on Netflix has more story in there that gives you that different twist on it that makes it kind of cool.
I did have questions. I wasn't sure like what his powers were exactly or what he could do. Like he can fly, but then there's times where he chooses to just not fly and save the. Like,
did you watch Shin Ultraman?
No.
You should watch it. It's
maybe I'll watch it
somewhere. It's somewhere. It's pretty cool. It'll explain a lot.
If it explains things, I'm in. Okay,
that's a movie, Anthony. I saw it. It's like the same guy who made Shin Godzilla made Shin Ultraman.
I'm aware it exists. I have not seen it. Ultraman, like I said, Ultraman was never my.
It was outside of the.
Was never my. Yeah, it was a little bit too out there. Not out there. Just wasn't. I never really got into it. I have a couple VHSs of Shin Ultraman or of Ultraman, but I think I got my Ultraman fix just watching Power Rangers.
Yeah,
because it's the same shit. It's like a big. They would always have like a monster of the week that they'd have to grow in size to fight.
Yeah. I like his design. He's kind of a cool character. He just gets big.
And he reminded me a lot of Jet Jaguar. Right. I was like, Jet Jaguar is kind of like, eh.
I like Jet Jaguar, but I like the new Ultraman Blazar because it was a very directed to the point show, monster of the week. Sometimes they'd have two shows that made it into 1 hour special or whatever. And it was actually pretty fun to watch, and it was actually handled and shot well. And they introduced a new mech, which was Earth Garen, which is like the one that looks kind of like Godzilla. It's in it. So I thought that, and they kept on powering him up with more and more weapons as the thing went on. So it was kind of fun. But Ultraman's all right. I like it.
All right. Ruggs, you watch anything else?
Did I? No.
I checked out. There's this documentary on Hulu called Brats about
the Bratpack.
The Bratpack from the 80s. Anthony, do you know about the Bratpack from the 80s?
I know about the Rat Pack.
So, yes, it was a spin on.
I heard it was like just all right.
It wasn't bad. So the Bratpack, Anthony, were a group of young actors who were coming in and were very popular in the mid-'80s. People like Andrew McCarthy, Emilio Estevez, Demi Moore, Ali Sheedy, Anthony Michael Hall, Judd Nelson. And kind of the documentary says this was like the shift that Hollywood realized that movies featuring young people in their lives would sell a lot of money. They were very popular. So these guys, the article came out calling them the Bratpack. This documentary is made by Andrew McCarthy. And it turns out after that article came out, they all went separate ways and they haven't talked to each other in like 30 years. So he goes around trying to find them and sits down and asks them like what it meant to be labeled as the Bratpack. They did not like the label, but Breakfast Club and Pretty in Pink and St. Elmo's Fire, they were huge. And the doc is good. He goes and he meets with Ali Sheedy and Molly Ringwald and Emilio.
But I don't understand why being labeled the Bratpack was bad at all. It doesn't even it didn't do anything other than saying that these are the new kids that are the new up and coming actors.
And so he says, looking at it now, from all of them kind of admit that, like, why did we hate this back then? Like, it should have been a term of honor. But Andrew McCarthy's like, it really hampered my career. I couldn't get certain roles being called. They just thought they were being called a brat, that it's possibly difficult to work with. Nobody wanted to hire them. So you start to get typecast. And they even talked to the writer. He goes and talks to the writer who coined this term that kind of ruined his life. And the guy was like, I thought it was pretty clever. He's like, I thought it was pretty good. And he's still unapologetic about it. It's a rudimentary documentary he put together himself.
That's some white people problems.
Yeah, it kind of was. It kind of was. They're all doing fine now.
They called you the Bratpack. Yes,
oh, boo.
It ruined my life. But you were in like a ton of movies.
Yeah. I don't know. I love those movies and I love those actors. So I thought it was a good watch. If you want to.
Like Demi Moore, she had a career. She was in fucking A Few Good Men, and she was in Ghost, and she was fucking G.I. Jane. She had a career.
Yeah, she's probably did the best out of a lot of them.
They all did. Emilio Estevez did a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
He just, I don't know why he stopped his career, but Charlie Sheen?
Why did why did these act, like, why did this group get, like, all put together?
Well, they were just
were they actually hanging out with each other?
I think at a point some of them were, but there was just a lot of young talent at this time, and they were getting and landing all these roles. And some of them did party together, some didn't. But then they would just be seen around town, and they were like the new young hot Hollywood in like the mid to late 80s.
So here are the movies. I'm looking at Wikipedia. Here are the movies that are considered Bratpack movies.
Yep.
The Outsiders.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
That's a good one.
Glass, 16 Candles, Oxford Blues, The Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's Fire, Pretty in Pink, Blue City, About Last Night, Wisdom, Fresh Horses, and Betsy's Wedding.
Oh, some of those last few I'm not sure about, but yeah, those
movies is your favorite.
I mean, Breakfast Club, bro. That is the greatest like high school coming of age movie. Even though they're like really old, but it's the best high school movie you're ever gonna watch. John Hughes just nails the tone. Pretty in Pink is also great. Ducky is a fantastic character.
And I've seen Pretty in Pink.
Pretty in Pink is good. Ruggs, what about you?
I kind of think that the Bratpack for me is like anything John Hughes adjacent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like that's a very specific list, but I think there's a lot of movies where all these actors kind of cross over into each other. Like Andrew McCarthy movies, and the movie with Andrew is that to me is a Bratpack movie.
Yeah, there was like some extra people in
Heaven
the Bratpack.
Help Us is an ancillary Bratpack movie that they have here.
Because some
from
people
Andrew McCarthy and Mannequin, like and Kansas.
Oh, Mannequin! Oh my God! You know, some people were like, "Is Tom Cruise in the Bratpack?" He was also up and coming, but he really
was in Outsiders.
He was in Outsiders, yes. And so you had Matt Dillon and Judd Nelson, Anthony Michael Halls in some of these movies.
Some films have been dubbed Bratpack movies despite having no stars from the core membership, including 1984's Red Dawn.
Oh shit!
Ferris Bueller's Day Off and The Lost Boys.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of outside Bratpack.
So are these just like any 80s movie with young people?
Essentially,
it's stupid. Like there were like these
they were making these movies.
There was a big breakout thing with John Hughes films.
Yes.
Right.
And Molly Ringwald. That it kind of encapsulated the 80s.
What about Sean Penn? You had Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Sean Penn was kind of hanging out with them.
That's really but that's like a 70s quintessential. That was like old school.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about the 80s and it's like new wave music and all that, the hip stuff.
Yeah.
Like that is what you call a Bratpack movie. And the Bratpack was like the essential characters from like, I would say The Breakfast Club or Pretty in Pink.
Yeah.
And But all of those guys, like they were in so many movies with each other
Yes.
or ancillary movies, like where you'd see like Matthew Broderick had nothing to do with the Bratpack, but he was adjacent. And so like Jason Patrick was also another one who's adjacent, and the Quarries were adjacent to the Bratpack.
Oh yeah. But it was kind of like John Hughes had his own like little multiverse, right? They were like all the same universe. These shows.
Why? Just real quick, because I don't know if I got it answered, and I'm very curious. Why did like this grouping get labeled as the Bratpack? Like, why is it specifically 1, 2, 3?
Because
8
they were in the first couple of John Hughes movies that broke wide.
Yeah.
And then everybody started using them. And so they it's kind of like it's not the Pussy Posse with like Leonardo DiCaprio. And
that's a better name, by the way. If I want to choose a name, I'm choosing the Pussy Posse.
Who's in the Pussy Posse? It's Tobey Maguire and one of the guys from Entourage, I think. I don't know, but like they just started getting a lot of work.
Well, but
and they were just in everything.
And they played like very similar characters in these movies, right? They kind of just played themselves over and over again in these movies, and that's what people loved. I don't think Hollywood is making movies catered towards young people at that time, and then this started a big wave. And this writer was essentially an article about Emilio Estevez, and he just kind of threw out this Bratpack term, calling out some of the people he's worked with, and then it became huge.
But like, I think that the Bratpack movies were all pretty good.
Yeah, I love those movies.
They weren't terrible films. There's nothing to be ashamed of. No. They're like, I don't know why that they would get typecast as what a teenager. You're growing up. You're not
people in their 20s. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing, and at the time they hated it. So, but looking back, I
just feel like this is just like a non-problem.
It's a good documentary.
Is it good?
It's pretty good. I thought it was good because I love those movies, and I always wanted to know. I was surprised that they have not talked to each other. I thought they'd all be hanging out, right? Like these 30 years, like they've shared this experience. No, they had not. Nobody's been talking to each other. Like they couldn't even get Judd Nelson at the end. He gets a call from Judd Nelson. He's not in the movie. He's just like, "Hello, Judd." So it would have been great to see. I don't know what he's doing, but it was cool to see all these people.
Was Judd Nelson the skater dude or the punk dude in
Breakfast Club? Yeah, he was the jock.
He was the voice of Rodimus Prime.
Fuck you, Dad. What about
where he keeps getting detentions or whatever?
Yeah, just the bad guy, the bad boy.
Wow, he looks so different now.
He's great. Anyways,
I am kind of intrigued that this is a little Bratpack thing.
Yeah,
you kind of piqued my interest on it. I still don't fully understand why they're.
I think they explain it in the movie
a little bit. He'll go. Yeah, they go into it. They talk to the writer
because the wiki has close contributors, so they've got like Matt Dillon, Patrick Swayze on here, Ralph Macchio, John Cusack.
Yes, there are satellite people. Yes, absolutely.
The Outsiders had everybody.
Yes, that's
Ralph Macchio, Patrick Swayze, Tom Cruise, Matt Dillon. Like everybody's in that fucking
Thomas
movie.
Howell.
Yeah.
I would watch some of these movies. Like
C. Thomas Howell's definitely Bratpack.
Yeah.
No?
I mean, Pretty in Pink, Breakfast Club.
Not on the Bratpack list, but contributor to the Bratpack.
These are quintessential 80s movies of the decade. Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink. Absolutely. I would watch those. Outsiders.
I got to watch some of these because I haven't seen all of these.
Like, I used to have a huge crush on Molly Ringwald from these movies, but they're great. It's of its time, but it definitely has a lot of nostalgia. That's why I liked it. Anyways, that's it. Enough about the Bratpack. That's it for this week, fellas. Rugs. Where can the people find you online?
Where do the people
find you?
The Rug Boy Show on Twitter, otherwise known as X.
I like Ralph Macchio. That's who I want. I'm gonna make a petition for Ralph Macchio to be officially included. Him and John Cusack.
Yes.
Charlie Sheen too.
Charlie Sheen is definitely.
And Andrew McCarthy, that's for Ruggs, so because I'd never heard of his name until Ruggs brought it up. So
he was in Mannequin.
Oh my God! Yeah, if you
and Robert Downey Jr. I'm going to petition Robert Downey.
Him too should be in the Bratpack.
He's adjacent, but like, have you ever seen Mannequin?
Anthony, have you seen Mannequin?
You have to watch it.
The movie is about this guy, and some magical happens where a mannequin, when nobody else is looking, a female mannequin comes to life. But when other people look, it instantly turns back into a mannequin.
You know what that sounds like?
Yes.
Something made in the 80s.
Yes, it's exactly what it was. It's amazing because we have shots of this guy riding down.
I haven't seen that in years. I should watch it.
There's a shot of this guy on a scooter, right? With the girl behind him. And then it cuts to somebody else's point of view. And he's on a scooter with like a mannequin behind him. It's hilarious. It's so dumb. It's so good. It's so good. So there's your homework. Anyways, that's it for this week, listener. Share the show, spread it around. We'd appreciate it. Thank you for listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
And he's the nerd.
Beep you next time.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
I offered you a chance to be a cop, and you blew it.
He's not part of the Bratpack.
No.
No, he's not.